Greetings, everyone. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? This is your brother Chief, man. What the deal is? We're about to go in. All right. We're about to go into some information right now. So let me make sure. I know we good here on Facebook. We are actually here on TikTok and we here on YouTube. So I'm gonna give everybody some time to get into this build. Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the build. Welcome to the build. We about to go in. We have a lot of information to disseminate. All right, so I'm gonna just give some people some time to get in. We want to make sure that this live is popping. All right, let's get as many people on here as possible, especially our brothers and sisters that still consider themselves Black or from Africa, and even more importantly, those of us who know that we're American Indians. All right, so this live, you definitely want to be a part of that. You don't want to miss this. Let's get it in. Let's get it in. All right. So let's give them a few more minutes and we'll start. Hope everybody's doing good. Right now, I'm actually on I'm streaming also on Facebook and YouTube. All right. So I'm kind of like cross, whatever you call it right now, cross streaming, I guess, because I also am doing it from StreamYard. All right. So do me a favor, go ahead and share this live on your respective platforms, your respective pages, wherever the case is. Let's get as many people on here as possible. What I'll do is, for the people who actually missed the live or the beginning of the live, I'll put my my YouTube information so they could go check it out on YouTube, because you definitely want to get a replay of that information. You don't want to miss anything. Okay? With that being said, we are going through a transition right now in our story and his story. What people need to realize is that we are looking at two different perspectives. We are looking at our story and we're looking at his story. Now, we all have our story. Our grandmama told us our story. Okay? However, his story told us something different. So therefore, we could find our story in his story, but not everything in his story is the truth about our story. I hope that makes sense. And in this lesson or class or build, whatever you want to call it, I'm going to literally break down a lot of information, give you a lot of researchable information, because I tell people like this: anytime I give you any type of information, don't believe me, please. Because in the word belief is the word lie. And I'm not here to tell you any lies. So don't believe anything that I say. Do your own due diligence. Do your own research. Let the information resonate with your spirit and soul. When you truly seek, ye shall truly find. And that's why I'm here to drop that information and drop it so hard. Because there are a lot of people right now that they're actually in a state of confusion. They are in a state of confusion. They were comfortable being Black. They were comfortable being African American. They were comfortable being slaves from Africa. And now that it's pretty much viral that our people are waking up to who we truly are as American Indians, they are in a state of what I call cognitive dissonance. All right. They got one foot in, one foot out. and they can't make up their minds. So they're still stuck in the paradigm of that slave made up story, not realizing that even if we were to go with the slave narrative, these people did not come here as slaves. What people have to realize is this, these, and I'm just saying, supposedly, right? If this were true to the extent of what they taught us, then the kings in Africa, they made deals and they sold their people. That's why they got paid. They got reparations. All the companies got reparations except the slaves. But we'll get into that. All right, so do me a favor. Go ahead and follow me on TikTok right now, and let's get into this. I'm going to go into this website right here, www.heritagehistory.com. So we're going to dive into some history right now, okay? And let us look at some facts opposed to people's opinions and their emotions. We're not going to deal with that today. The Phoenicians and the ancient world. We're not going to read the entire document. However, you could go to heritage/history.com. I'm going to put in the search. So I'm going to hit Control F. Give me 1 second here. Let me just tap that real quick. Control F. All right. And we're going to look for America. And there are 9 searches for America. So let me just give you a little tip, right? If you're doing any type of reading and you're looking for a specific word, you know, within that document, and you don't want to read the entire document, you could just tap on Control F on an HP or Command F on a Mac, and it'll take you to the words or exactly what you're looking for. So it's going to save you some time. So you don't have to read the entire document. Just so you know, just wanted to give y'all that little tip. All right. So the first one we're going to go is here. And we're going to read. It says right here, right? Let's start from the top. Some of this knowledge, including their knowledge of metal, they're talking about the Phoenicians, working glass blowing, dyes, architecture, and shipbuilding is well known among historians. But there is considerable evidence that they also possessed advanced knowledge in many other fields, including autonomy, medicine, astronomy, electromagnetism, open ocean navigation, and the world geography. There is evidence, for example, that they were able to predict eclipses, knowledge which, hold up. Okay, let me see something. All right. Hold up. Let me see. Knowledge. Where's that? Where am I? Knowledge which would have required many centuries of astrological, observation to obtain, and that they established colonies and traded with the Americas in biblical times. Pay attention. I'm giving y'all researchable information so that you could rebuttal all the foolishness that people are talking about on the internet, because people don't realize that we are in a transitional period, and the colonizers, they're still playing chess while our people are playing checkers. We're still playing catch up. So everything that's happening right now, it's part of the big plan. It's part of the big plan. And when I'm done with this lecture today, you'll see exactly what we are talking about. So we know this for a fact, that the Phoenicians traded with the Americans in biblical time. So we are going to prove and validate that the Native Americans that the Phoenicians were trading with, whether it was during biblical times or before that, it were not the Native Americans. Well, you may ask, how can you prove this, Chief? All right, so the Chief is going to prove it to you right now. Let us go to the next the next one about what it says about America. Let us read. Many of the great discoveries or inventions of history were well known to the Phoenicians long before they were imparted to the common people. For example, there were evidence of the Phoenicians' use of we already read that, blah, 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 blah. But let us read it right here what it says. Techniques centuries before, they were widely known and they traveled to the Americas long before whom? Before Columbus. All this is important. So we know they came here before Columbus. All right, let me see what else we have. Way before Columbus. So we're gonna stop here and we're gonna go to the next. Let me present the next joint for y'all, because like I said, I'm also on what you call it, YouTube and Facebook at the same time. All right, let me go ahead and share my screen and let's go here. What we are gonna do is we are gonna go to the full interview of, for those of you who want to go check out this interview in its entirety, go to YouTube and look up right here.
If you were to walk into,
hold on for 1 second, I want to go look for that video right here, full video interview, Minister Louis Farrakhan on American Indians, Truth, Justice, or Else. And he's talking to Jay. This is who he's talking to right now. Jay Winter Nightwolf. So we just read, okay, from a history site that the Phoenicians came into the Americas during the biblical times and they traded with the Americans. Let us go to Mark 10 minutes and 3 seconds. That's where we're going to go right now. And if you don't know who this man is, go look him up. He's a Native American scholar, historical scholar, and an expert to an extent on archaeology. Listen to what he's saying. He's telling Minister Farrakhan. So we just read from an independent historical site that the Phoenicians traded with the Americans during biblical times. However, hear what this historian, a Native American historian, pay attention to what he's telling Minister Farrakhan. Because we're going to put all the nonsense to rest today. It stops today. And for those who want to stay in limbo, cognitive dissonance is fine. If you want to stay in denial, it's fine. But I just want you to know, the Nile is a river that runs from the Americas into Africa. It is still in the Americas. I just want you guys to know this. So stop being in denial if you can't swim. Let's rock.
Stench remains.
And the stench remains.
I would like to turn your attention to issues closer to home. There's a solid archaeological evidence that African sailors, more specifically the Phoenicians, came to the eastern shores of the U.S. over 50,000 years ago and coexisted with native peoples. Also, several tribes became involved in international trade on the high seas through the Phoenicians. And for some time, they've always had this story that, oh, the Phoenicians were white sailors. In fact, they were not. They were black ocean-going sea merchants that had established international trade on the high seas long before the white man came to the Western Hemisphere.
All right, let's stop right here. You heard that? This man is a well-respected scholar, historian, archaeological research for the Native Americans. And we just seen earlier that in history, from a historical site, that the Phoenicians came and traded with the Americans. So now we are confirming what he's just saying over 50,000 years ago. However, the theory that's being taught is that the Native Americans only came here between 12,000 and 25,000 years ago, for the most 30,000 years ago. So therefore, I'm going to be extremely generous and I'm going to give them 30,000, even if I know that's not true. They came here in the late 1700s. But let's just say, for conversation's sake, give them the benefit of the doubt. And they came here between 12 to 15, 20,000, 30,000 years ago. And if this man is saying that the Phoenicians came here and traded with Americans over 50,000 years ago, who were here when they met the Americans that extra 20 years ago? I'm going to wait for an answer. Anybody, for all you scholars out there, for all you naysayers out there, for all you so-called, oh, we all came from Africa out there, go ahead, tell me. I'll wait. because this is a Native American scholar, historian, that's giving y'all that information. I'm just regurgitating the information. That's all I'm doing. So therefore, it means if we gave them the benefit of the doubt, we would have to literally explain that extra 20,000 years before the natives claimed they came, who did the Phoenicians met in the Americas. Let us proceed. Let us go to Mark, the mark of this video, 4800. 4800. 4800. And look at Minister Farrakhan's face, because he know the man is telling the truth, but he want to keep calling us black. Let us go to right here. Pay attention.
That he gave us, and to pass on to our children a better life, even on our death.
You know what, brother? If you were to walk into any mosque in America and you just laid your hands on the first person or the third person or the fifth person that you see, you realize that you're laying your hands on a Native American?
I believe
There were only 8% of the slaves that came to America.
Let's stop right here. Like I told y'all before, this is not a game. We're going to go in today. We are going to go in. You heard that? If you go into a mosque, particularly the branch or the sect of Minister Farrakhan's congregation, the first, the third, the fourth, and the fifth individual is native. And his congregation is predominantly so-called black people. And that's just the mosque. What if you were to go into the Christian church? Where the percentage is a whole lot bigger. Literally, everyone in that Christian church is literally an American Indian. From his own words, not mine. I'm just giving it to you. All right? So this sets the precedence to avoid all type of misconception as to who the original people of the Americas are. I'm going to stop sharing my screen right now. And what we're going to do is we are going to establish what the United States is before we get into the 14th Amendment, because all this is important, because it's all going to make sense. I always tell people there's a madness to everything that I do. If you're on TikTok, please do me a favor. Go ahead and follow me right now if you're not following me, because that's my main focus. My main focus is to restore our birthright as the original people of the land, the American Indians. That's who we are. So at this point, we're going to look at Title 28, U.S. Code, Section 3002, definitions. I'm not the one giving you this. It is their codes. I'm just regurgitating the information. Let us scroll all the way down to Capital 15A. Capital 15A. Here we go. Capital 15A. What does it say? The United States means what? A federal corporation, an agency, department, commission, board, or other entity of the United States, an instrumentality of the United States. So therefore, the United States is a federal corporation. Keep that in mind. It's a federal corporation. I don't know what part of that my people are missing, because nobody taught us that. For those of you who know it, that's fine. But for those of you that don't know it, I'm teaching it to you for the first time. I didn't make up the codes. You didn't make up the codes. They gave it to us. You see, they got to tell you the truth. They got to tell you the truth. However, they tell you ignorance of the law or the truth is not their problem. It is no excuse. You have to know for yourself. They're not going to teach it to our children because it would not benefit the corporation. Let us proceed. Let us go to the next one. All right. I got to stop here, close this out. And we're going to go to what a United States business is. And I know a lot of you on YouTube and Facebook, you have already seen this before, but I'm new to TikTok, so I'm just sharing that with my TikTok family. All right, so bear with me. But for those of you on YouTube and Facebook, you're gonna hear some new information today. So just work with me. All right, let me go through this information for my TikTok community. This is in their own codes, not mine. Title 15, USC Section 4724 E1. The United States business. What is a United States business? The term United States business means what? A United States citizen, a corporation, a partnership. But why is A? The first one, United States business means what? A United States citizen. My people perish for the lack of knowledge. All I could do is give you the information. I can't force it on you. Don't believe anything that I say. This is only for knowledge purposes, but you do what you want with it. Because if I ask you to believe me, I'm lying to you, because in the word believe is the word lie. Don't believe anything that I say. Let us proceed. Next, now that you know what the United States is, and now that you know what, not whom, but what a United States citizen is, not whom, but what. Because everybody is chattel. The only difference is so-called black people, they are the field slaves in the corporation per se, because you are being identified as black and African American, and the title or the status of white, it means the house servant. It's just a little more privileges, but everybody is still subject, and everybody is still a business of the corporation. Everybody. We just took up the lowest status. That's all it means. I just wanted to kind of make that clear. All right. Let us proceed. We are going to discuss the colony of Liberia right now, because most people think that our ancestors went to Liberia on their own. No, because the colony of Liberia was set up not for the slaves. It was set up for the free slaves. So my question is this: if you're already free, why would you want to go somewhere else? That means it meant that you went and it wasn't your free will. You were forced to go. So the colony of Liberia was created, and it started in 1820. And it was from the American Colonization Society. Look at the acronym for American Colonization Society, ACS. Don't ACS come take your children? I'm not saying there's any affiliation, because all I'm just saying, just point it out. Because the last time I made that mention on YouTube, they almost gave me a strike talking about, oh, I can't make the connection. But all I'm asking you to do, why is the acronym the same thing? Do you think it's a coincidence? There's no coincidences in life, my brothers and sisters. Everything happens with incidents. Hence the word coincidence. Co means to be with, and incidents mean for something to take place. So everything happens because it's supposed to. There are no accidents. You feel me? So the colony, the American Colonization Society sent its first group of immigrants to Chabro, Island 2 in Sierra Leone. So when this popular DNA, and I'm saying this, when these popular DNA companies, they tell you are from West Africa, they're literally taking samples from people that came from the Americas, and because they're in Africa, they're not telling you these people are actually descendants of Americans. Our people are just so lost, it's not even funny. And it doesn't matter how much I show the proof, people are still going to be stiff-necked. Because in Exodus, even the Bible said that God's people are a stiff-necked people. They are a stiff-necked people. It doesn't matter what you show them. Whatever is stuck in their subconscious mind, it's hard to go down deep within the roots of their subconscious mind and uproot the illusions, the lies, the brainwashing, the misinformation. And it all took place because of the colonization society that sent first our ancestors calling them immigrants, sending them into Sierra Leone. It wasn't just Liberia. Our people were sent to Sierra Leone. They were sent to Angola. But however, Liberia was the only colony that was established to be well known. You feel me? The island swampy, unhealthy conditions resulted in a high death rate among the settlers, because they call our people settlers, as well as the society's representatives. The British governor allowed the immigrants to relocate safer into another area temporarily, while ACS, I just got to laugh. While ACS, okay, what is the purpose of ACS in the United States? According to you, when it relates to your children, I'm gonna just leave it as that, because I don't want nobody to say, well, hey, you know what? I'm reaching. I'm just saying ACS worked to save its colonization project from complete disaster. So when our people, now mind you, if we were from Africa and we were slaves from Africa, wouldn't Liberia embrace our people? Why would we be called settlers? All right, then. Let us proceed. It says, see African American Mosaic Personal Stories and ACS New Directions. Let us read a little more. Then we have in 1821, I'm giving you the timeline, the American Colonization Society, ACS, dispatched a representative, Dr. Eli Aries, to purchase land further north to the coast from Sierra Leone. With the aid of the U.S. naval officer, Lieutenant Robert F. Stockton, Aries cruised the coastal waters west of the Grand Bassa, seeking out appropriate lands for the colony. Stockton took charge of the negotiations with leaders of the day. Don't we always hear words are always interchangeable? All right, I'll leave that alone. I don't want no smoke. So I'll leave that alone. And Bassa people who lived in the area of Cape Mesurado. At first, the local leaders were reluctant to surrender their people's land to the strangers, but were forcefully persuaded, some accounts say at gunpoint, to part with 35-mile land and 3-mile wide strip of coastal land for trade goods, supplies, weapons, and rum, approximately $300. So everything that was done, like I tell my people, our people did not go there because they wanted to. No. It was land that was ceded through force by gun to take lands to displace our people. It was a relocation of American Indians into Africa, because our people were POWs, prisoners of war in our own land that got enslaved in our own land. Hence, Martin Luther King said, the Negro is exiled in his own land. The 4th annual report of the American Society for Colonization, the Free People of Color, the United States, right? They tell you to see the 4th annual blah, 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 blah. Let us go to 1822. April 25 or 25th, the survivors of Chabro Island arrived at Cape Mesurado and began to build their settlement with the wavering consent of the new immigrants. At the American Colonization Society governed the colony through its representative. In time, however, some colonists objected strenuously to the authoritarian policies instituted by Yehudi Ashman, a Methodist missionary who replaced Aries as the ACS governing representative. Such disagreements created tensions within the struggle settlements. All right. 1824. Believing that the colonial agent had allocated town lots and rationed provisions unfairly, a few of the settlers armed themselves and forced the society representative to flee the colony. The disagreements was resolved temporarily when an ACS representative came to investigate the colony's problem and persuaded Ashmoon to return. Steps were initiated to spell out the system of local administration and to codify the laws. This resulted a year later in the Constitution Government and Digest of the Laws of Liberia. In this document, sovereign powers continued to rest with the ACS agents, but the colony was to operate under common law. Slavery and participation in the slave trade were forbidden. The settlement that had been called Crystalopolis was renamed Monrovia after the American president James Monroe, and the colony as of a whole formerly called Liberia. All right. We have 1827. Slave states in North America increasingly interested in getting rid of their free African American population. They wanted to get rid of their in North America, wanted to get rid of whom? Interestingly, in getting rid of their free African American population, encouraged the formation of the colonization societies. These groups organized themselves independently of the ACS and founded their own colonies in Liberia for transplanting free African Americans. Some of the volunteers were emancipated only if they agreed to immigrate. Okay? They didn't have a choice because they were putting pressure on them in the United States. It was either you leave or you don't exist anymore. So they choose and volunteered to leave. You feel me? Emancipated only agreed to immigrate. They had terms on that immigration. The Maryland State Colonization Society established its colony in Cape Palmas, Liberia. Virginia and Mississippi also established Liberian colonies for the former slaves and free blacks. Well, hold up. Former slaves and free blacks, wouldn't that be the same thing? You see, people don't read, man. People don't read with understanding. People just read with emotions, and they go based on what they heard on TV and in the schools, and they don't. Let's read this again. Former slaves and free blacks. If you're a former slave and you're black, doesn't that mean you're free? So what's the distinction? I'm going to tell you what it is. The free blacks were people who were never enslaved. They were still American Indians, but they were walking around as free people, and they didn't like that. The plantation didn't like that. And the slaves were American Indians who were enslaved, also those who came from Europe. And the few that may have came from Africa. I'm not denying a few may have came. As you heard, the gentleman that was talking to Minister Farrakhan, he said only 8%. So where did the rest of us come from? Let us read some more. That it's telling us to see for more references, right? See the 10th annual report, African American Perspectives on the American Society for Colonization, the Free People of Color of the United States, with an appendix and named after the state Virginia and Mississippi to also founded colonies for former slaves in Liberia. All right. So just so you know, in 1838, the colonies established the Virginia Colonization Society, the Quaker Young Men Colonization Society of Pennsylvania, and the American Colonization Society merged as a Commonwealth of Liberia and claimed control over all the settlements between Cestus River and Cape Mount. The Commonwealth adopted a new constitution and a newly appointed government, in 1839. All right, so we don't have to read any more on this. I'm just showing you that the facts. I'm giving you a timeline of what took place and show you that our people were displaced. They were relocated. It wasn't a deportation. It was a relocation. You feel me? It was a relocation. And that's why I'm constantly reminding my brothers and sisters, be careful. The legal system is not a lawful system. What is of law is not law. All right. You can't say you wasn't warned. Let us proceed. So we saw what happened in 1820 with so-called free people of color and also slaves. All right. We always assume when we hear the word slave, we always think when we hear slaves, we assume that it's people from Africa, man. No, our people became prisoners of war in our own land. Let us proceed. Check this out. I'm showing you, how they indoctrinated. The American Colonization Society, what is this? ACS, had a significant connection with Lincoln University, considered the first black university, as the founders of Lincoln University, particularly Reverend John Miller Dickey, were members of ACS and aimed to educate, you see who? Black missionaries. They had to teach the missionaries first, the pastors, the ministers, who would then work in the African colony of Liberia established by the society to resettle. If you were already settled in your land, why are we being resettled? Freed slaves. Hence, the early focus of the university was tied to colonization movement in Africa. You see how our people got brainwashed? That's what schools are for. You don't see a rabbit taking its youngins to a lion to get taught. But some of my people are just so indoctrinated, they just can't see past it. It was the colonization society that set up the first black university. Do you think they was going to teach you that you are free? Do you think they're going to teach you that you was the American Indians? Do you think they're going to teach you that the majority of the people that came here as servants across the seas, they came from Europe and they did not come from Africa? Do you think they're going to teach you that? No, they're not going to teach you that. They're not going to teach you that. Because the majority of the people that came from Europe, a lot of them were so-called black people. So-called black people from Europe. Pay attention. Let us proceed. All right. I'm giving y'all a chronology of what took place in history now. Let us rock. Let's close this out. Let us go to the next joint. Question. A lot of people don't realize that the Dred Scott case was never repealed. But we're going to get into that right now. They assume that it was repealed. But let me tell you something. You cannot assume things. You have to know for a fact. It's either you know or you don't know. The question remains, will the Supreme Court ever get around to unruling the shame of the Dred Scott case? It was never overturned. It was assumed that it was overturned. Okay, it was assumed that it was overturned because of the 13th and the 14th Amendment, but it wasn't overturned. For those of you who don't know about the Dred Scott case, look it up. It was ruled that persons, property. Persons are property. You have two types of persons. You have persons, the corporation, the chattel slave, or you have persons, the natural person. So therefore, persons of African descent could never be citizens of the United States. I'm going to repeat that. Persons. You have two types of persons. In fact, you have a few types of persons because a corporation is a person as well. However, when it comes to people, you have two types of persons. You have a legal person, which is called in legis, corporation, property. That's what Dred Scott and people of the likes were considered, that type of person. And you had the natural person, as in American Indians and people who had the status of being white and free. You feel me? But don't get it confused with white. This is the color white, and nobody is that complexion. However, white was a status that meant free. And Caucasian people were not called white then. It were the so-called black Europeans who set up the 13 colonies. They were the white people. This is why Africans come here today and they are white in race and status. You feel me? So, just for the record, the Dred Scott case was never overruled by the Supreme Court. What is the highest laws of the land in the United States? Treaties, and the Supreme Court laws. So we are going on a high level right now. It was never overturned. All right, let us proceed. With that being said, we are going to look at the 13th Amendment because that's what seems to be, this is what seems to be one of the main issues and the hot topics about the 14th Amendment and what birthright citizen means and all that. Well, I got some news for y'all. We're about to break this down right now. Let me go and share my screen. Let us go. And let us do this. Check this out. What does it say? It is widely accepted that the 13th Amendment and the 14th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution effectively overturned the Dred Scott case, which had ruled that enslaved people were not considered citizens and could not sue in federal court. The 13th Amendment abolished slavery, right? While the 14th Amendment granted citizenship to all whom? Persons born or naturalized in the United States, regardless of race. It begs the question, who is a person? My brothers and sisters that keep thinking that the 13th Amendment was put in place to protect the natural man as a so-called black person or African American, you are mistaken. It was put in place to protect the corporation interests as per the corporation franchises, which is a United States citizen, which is a corporation. That's what it was put in place for. I could only give you the information. You do what you want with it. I can't force you to see it. That's not my job. That's not my purpose. My job is to give it to you. And it's your job to do your own due diligence. It says the 13th and the 14th Amendment. First of all, let's go back to it was a widely accepted. It wasn't done by the Supreme Court. It wasn't accepted by the Supreme Court. It wasn't overruled by the Supreme Court. There's no treaties that says it was overruled by the Supreme Court. It was accepted. In other words, it was assumed that it was overruled by the 13th and the 14th Amendment. But here it says, all persons, does it mean the legal person or the natural person? You see, natural persons are free people. Legal persons are not free people. Let me ask you, my brothers and sisters, do you feel like you're free? If you don't feel like you're free, then you are considered a legal person. Because when you're free, you know you're free. That's what the 14th Amendment was put in place. It subliminally took us on a different level of servitude, a whole new level as POWs on paper. And it was consummated with a receipt, the birth certificate that was registered and sealed. Y'all think this is a game, huh? All right, just wait. Like I told y'all before, I've always been ahead of my time. Just watch it unfold. Watch it unfold. Let us stop sharing this now. Let us go to the next joint. We are going to go dive again into the 14th Constitution. I mean, not 14th Amendment, pardon me. And we're going to break it down just a little more and look at the verbiage. All right, the verbiage. I hope we're doing good on TikTok, all right? And Facebook and YouTube, because we're all over the place right now. Do me a favor. Go ahead and follow me on TikTok if you're not following me right now. All right, because I'm going to be dropping a whole lot more information here on TikTok. All right, check this out. The 14th Amendment, equal protection and other rights. All whom, we keep seeing that word person. We're going to get into this person because we're going to look into the law dictionaries and see who or what a person is. I keep talking to my people, but you want to be a stiff-necked people, you're going to learn the hard way. You're going to learn the hard way. And I don't wish anything bad or evil on anyone. No, I don't wish that. Not at all. But our grandmothers always had a saying, a hard head make a soft ass. I'm going to repeat that. Our grandmothers always say, our elders always say, a hard head make a soft butt. All right? If you don't know what that means, go ask somebody. Let's read. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and what? Subject. So to be a United States citizen, you have to be born, naturalized, right? That's not enough. You have to be a subject of the United States. To the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state where they are in or they reside. Now check this out. A corporation cannot force a man or a woman to be a citizen of a corporation. So therefore, they had to make you a person, a legal person. Why didn't they put natural person? If there's a distinction between a legal person and a natural person, why didn't they put that distinction in the Constitution? Why didn't they put that distinction in the amendment? And why did they put that you have to be subjected? In other words, you have to be property. When you are subjected to something, you are property of that thing. You belong to that thing. You are subjected to my dominion. You are subjected to my rules. You are subjected to my ordinances and codes. You are in my jurisdiction. Being a United States citizen was a choice until the people accepted it as a choice, and it no longer became a choice. It became an obligation. Y'all see the difference? Let's read this again. The 14th Amendment, Section 1. All persons, that's the key word right there, persons. What or whom is a person? A person could be a thing. A person could be a man or a woman. In that case, they're not talking about natural people. Born in the United States. Didn't I show you what the United States is? We're going to get into that because the United States was a corporation. So you were born within a corporation on paper. That's where you exist. That's what you think you are. And if that's what you think you are, fine. I can't convince you otherwise. That's not my job. I'm just here to give you the information. And subject, you have to meet those two criteria to be considered a citizen of the United States. So if you agree to be a legal person, therefore you were born, aka, not aka, but as per the birth certificate, you were born on the birth certificate, or you were naturalized through a process within the corporation, United States, Title 28, Section 3002. And the second provision, you have to be subjected. You have to give up all your rights, all your alienable rights, and be subjected. They have dominion over you. To be in their jurisdiction, you are a citizen of the corporation. Let us proceed. I have to take some time on this so that this sink in, because a lot of people are missing this. Now, who knows what Trump is talking about when he's talking about getting rid of birthright citizenship? Is he actually talking about what we are going to do is we are going to get rid of the whole corporate entity that's in the 14th Amendment? Is that what he's talking about? And we are going to make people natural persons? Who knows? Only time will tell. So check this out. We have what's called the Indian Citizen Act of 1924. We're going to read this and we're going to let it make sense. Okay? The Indian Citizen Act began and held at the city of Washington on Monday, the 3rd day of December, 1924. 1924, the Indian Citizen Act. Let us read, because you see, reading is fun for the mental. It is. And a lot of people don't read with understanding. They don't read with understanding. They don't read with overstanding. They read with understanding because they're under the information. You have to read and comprehend. You feel me? An act. What's an act? Who act? Actors act. Why do you think it's called an act? They're all actors. Okay? Why do you think Congress is not called progress? Because it was never meant for you to progress. It was meant for you to congress. What's con? Why would they call an artist a con artist? Why would they call a vict a convict? So therefore, how could Congress be a positive thing? Why didn't they call themselves progress opposed to congress? But you see, people don't look at the spells and the words, not realizing that they are under a spell. It's sorcery. It's magic. To authorize the Secretary of the Interior to issue certificates of citizenship to Indians. What is a certificate? Proof. Why do you have a birth certificate? It's a contract. You feel me? Let's read. All right. Be it enacted by the Senate of the House of Representatives of the United States of America, Congress assembled. Why didn't it just say the United States? Why didn't it? So you see, that was not just by the corporation. That was the Republic stepping in right here. Okay? They assembled and they played a part, and that all non-citizens, Indians, born within the territorial limits of the United States. Why didn't it say the United States of America? You see, people don't read with understanding, man. They don't read with overstanding. They read with understanding. That is the reason why when you go to court, the judge always asks you, do you understand me? It does not mean do you comprehend. It means that are you under me? Are you in my jurisdiction? It's called legalese. This is a legal document. It's legalese. It's a language that you speak. You think it's English, but you don't know that you're speaking legalese. It's like you speaking Chinese, but you don't understand what you're saying. That's what legalese is. And that's what these documents are written in legalese. Let's read this again. Do you think it's a coincidence that the first part of it says the United States of America and the second part just says the United States, born in the United States? Whoa. What came first? The American Indian Citizen Act or the 14th Amendment? My brothers and sisters, it's all part of a game. It is all part of a game. It's chess. It's chess. And you're playing checkers. Let's read this again. Be it enacted by the Senate and the House of Representatives of the United States of America in Congress. It never said the United States for America. It says of America. Of is not for. So that's insufficient. The Constitution of the United States is different from the Constitution for the United States of America. It's two completely different things, but we ain't got to go there. That might go over some heads. All right? That all non-citizen Indians, in other words, all the so-called black people that were still calling themselves Indians, we're going to make it a law. We're going to make them all United States citizens, whether they like it or not. Y'all want me to get straight to the point? I got straight to the point. Okay? Because a lot of our people did not want to be citizens of the corporation. They wanted to remain being American Indians. Okay? All right. And they hereby declared, it's a declaration. You see, a declaration had to be made. They declared to be citizens. Without a declaration, then it wouldn't have been effective. A declaration must be made to be citizens of the United States. Provided, you see, there's always a provision. What does provided means? It's a provision that, and here's the provision, that granting such citizenship shall not in any manner impair. What is the definition of impair, Chief? Impair means to take away, to hinder. All right, to take away from, to diminish, or otherwise affect the right of any Indian to tribal or other property. Let me ask you, so-called black people that know we American Indians, do we have our property? Do we have our identity? Do we have our lands? No. So therefore, by default, you are not United States citizens. We already spoke about the people who think they're African, because it did say in the Dred Scott case that no one from African descent could ever be a citizen of the United States. And we already proved that the Supreme Court did not overrule it. And we are going through the 14th Amendment, and we showed you exactly what it meant. It said persons, not people. Who established the Constitution? We the people, not we the persons. So it does not include persons, aka who identify themselves as Black and African American. So when you read this with understanding and overstanding and get away from under the information, you'll realize that right here, it says they made all our ancestors, American Indians ancestors, they made them within the territorial limits of the United States. They made them citizens of the United States, but there was a condition. We're going to make you a citizen of the United States on one condition, or on a few conditions, that by us granting you citizenship, it will not impair. In other words, it will not take away from anything of you being an Indian, or otherwise affect the right that you have as being an Indian to any of your tribal property. It took us completely out of our identity, our ethnicity, our race, and our inheritance. So therefore, by default, we are not citizens of the United States. That's why when they do the census, Black, African American, to some Black races somewhere in Africa. Lost at sea, my people, you perish for the lack of knowledge. But a lot of people are going to see this information, and they're still going to find a way to justify being Black or African American, thinking they came from slaves from Africa. But let's proceed. Let's proceed. Okay? Where are we going to go next? I keep breaking this down for y'all, man. And those who have eyes, let them see. And those who have ears, let them hear. Let us look at persons now. We're going to dive into persons. Okay? And we're looking at the Black's Law Dictionary, 2nd edition. A person, a man considered according to the rank he holds in society, with all the rights to which the place he holds entitles him, and the duties which it imposes. What does it say here? A human being considered as capable of having rights. You see, there's a difference between a man and a human. A man has rights. Okay, so we are talking, the first part of it, we are talking about a natural person. However, here, a human, you are capable of having rights and of being charged with duties, while a thing is the object over which rights may be exercised. So we're going to focus on this word right here, human, and see exactly what this same dictionary say a human is. That's what we're going to do. So as we could see here, there are two distinctions in person. A man is a natural person. A human, let's see what a human is, because a human is capable. It doesn't mean a human have rights. The human is capable of having rights. We got to read with understanding. Let us go to the next one. We're going to look at monster, and see who a monster is. Okay, let's break this down. Who is a monster? My brothers and sisters, I'm only here to give you the information, man. Like I tell people today, I'm like one of the Noahs of today. I'm like one of the Moses of today. I'm here to free my people. And I could do it by giving you the information, but I can't force you to see the information. Also, Black's Law Dictionary, 2nd edition. Who is a monster, or what's a monster? Let us read. A prodigious birth. And we're going to look at what prodigious means in a few seconds. A human birth or offspring not having the shape of mankind, which cannot be heir to any land, albeit brought forth in marriage. If you don't know what this means, we're going to break it down so we're able to read this with understanding and overstanding. The first part of this we're going to look at is the fact that it says prodigious birth. We're going to look at the definition of prodigious birth once I break down a couple of things. So we know that a monster is a human. And when we look at person gave you two definitions. A man. And it never said that a man is capable of rights, because a man or a woman has the highest authority on the land. Hence, it says we the people created the Constitution, the preamble. It never said person. It never said human. It said people. Man and woman are considered people. A person, it could be a natural person, or it could be a legal person. A legal person is a human, as in human. So therefore, a prodigious birth, a human birth, or offspring, meaning that the children or the product not having shape of mankind. It only exists on paper. The monster only exists on paper. You feel me? And it has no heir to land. A thing cannot own a thing. Oh my goodness, man. I don't know how else to break it down. A thing cannot own a thing. So now that we know a person is a monster and a monster is a human, so therefore a human is a monster. Let us rock. We're going to look at the meaning of prodigious. Let us proceed. Give me a second. I got to make sure that my peoples on YouTube and Facebook, they are seeing that screen as well. So I have to share for them. All right. Let us rock. Here we go. Let us hear the pronunciation of the word.
Prodigious.
Prodigious. I said prodigious. My fault. I apologize. Let's hear it again.
Prodigious.
Prodigious. All right. Here we go. Okay. We have the adjective, but we're going to look at the archaic definition of that. What does it say? Unnatural or abnormal. You see that? Unnatural, monstrous, grotesque, abnormal. My brothers and sisters, you are considered abnormal. You are considered a monster. Why do you think they have to keep projecting so-called black people on the news as monsters, as savages, as gangbangers? Why do you think they have to pay Tupac to put thug life on his chest? Do you know what a thug is? Go look up the etymology of the word thug. It is all part of the game, man. It's the art of war. Unnatural, abnormal. While we here, let's just go look at it. Okay, etymology. Let's look at it. Etymology of not indigenous, but let's look at etymology of thug. I've already shown it to my YouTube people and my Facebook people. I'm going to show it to my TikTok people for the very first time. Etymology of thug. Let's look at it. What does it say? Etymology of thug. And that's what Tupac had on his chest. Don't you think Tupac was paid to do that? Come on, man. I'm not saying he didn't stand for some good things, but look, a thug, a member of a gang of a murderers and robbers in there who strangled their victims. You think he didn't know what it means? Pay attention, man. Pay attention. That's what or who a thug is. The thugs roamed about the country in bands of from 10 to 100, usually in disguise of peddlers or pilgrims, gaining the confidence of other travelers, whom they strangled when a favorable opportunity presented themselves, with a handkerchief and an onward turban or a noose cord. That's what Tupac tattooed on his stomach. A thug. I could only show you the information. You do what you want with it. It's up to you. We're going to continue. All right. We're going to look here again as who is a person. We are not done yet. I showed you how all this is tied in to the 14th Amendment. But a lot of people are going to see the truth and they're not going to even cognitive dissonance once more. The term person in the U.S. codes can refer to a natural person, a legal person, or a non-human legal entity. What did I show you? U.S. citizens are what? Business entities. It can also refer to a corporation, partnership, or other organization. So how do you know which one the 14th Amendment is talking about? How do you know? So that's why I'm like, we are not sure exactly what Trump is talking about when he said he's going to get rid of birthright citizenship. Is he talking about ending the all legal selling people on paper as chattel? Or is he actually talking about real people? Because if you're talking about natural people, well, my brothers and sisters, you're not considered natural. And don't think you may not be able to get deported, but you could be relocated. Because it's all part of the colonization society is still in effect today. And I'm going to show you something soon enough. We are just getting warmed up. We getting started. We just getting started. If you're not following me on TikTok, please do so right now. Right now. Please. Okay? Because you don't want to miss the information that I'm sharing with you. Because I'm not here to entertain anybody. I'm here to teach my people so we could regain and restore our birthright. That's what I'm on TikTok for. Not to be entertained. I don't want to go viral for entertaining people. No, I want to go viral for teaching my people the truth. That's what I want to go viral for. All right. So help me get to 1,000 people real quick. 1,000 followers on TikTok. So check this out. The question is Washington, D.C. a state according to the Library of Congress? No, the Library of Congress does not refer to Washington, D.C. as a state. Instead, the Library of Congress documents Washington, D.C. as a District of Columbia. Check this out. The Library of Congress is located in Washington, D.C. The Library of Congress has maps, blase, 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 blah. All right. Washington, D.C. is not a state, but a district created by whom? The Constitution. They had to create a foreign place, a business, a corporation to deal with what? The corporated people that was created from what? The 14th Amendment. From what? The birth certificate. That's where you're being governed on paper. All right. Y'all think I don't know what I'm talking about? Let's proceed. Let's proceed. Let's proceed. We just getting started, man. We just getting started. Here we go. We got some more to go. We're about halfway through anyway, so we've been started. Let's go. Washington, D.C. has been the federal capital of the United States since 1800. Each state has its own capital city, as do many of its insular areas. But Washington, D.C. is the federal capital of the United States. Look at this word right here. Capital United States. Okay? Keep that in mind. Capital United States. Keep that in mind. It's in Washington, D.C. However, the United States is not a state. It is not part of the United States as in a de jure sense. It's a de facto, it's only a corporation. All right? So that's what you are the citizen as, or the citizen of. All right? So just so you know, if Washington, D.C. is the capital of the United States, then the capital, the word capital has the word cap in it, a capstone. When you go to a graveyard, pay attention. When you go to a graveyard, when people die, they have tombstones. What's another word for tombstone? It's a capstone. Hence, capital building. Hence, your name is in all capital letters on your IDs and all your documents, because you are a citizen of the corporation. Natural person. A natural person is a living human being. But when we look at human, it's a monster. So a natural person is a living human monster. system that can attach rights and duties to natural persons without their express what? Consent. Let's read this again. A natural person is a living, it never said a living man, a living human. What's a human? A human is a monster. Being. Legal system, meaning that the legal system can attach rights and duties to natural persons without express consent. In other words, even if they're telling you that you're a natural person, you are still a human, which is a monster. They tricked us into making us think it's different. Well, they didn't trick me. I know the difference. I'm a living man, not a living person. I'm not a person. I'm a man. I don't have to say a living man, a man, period. If you are a woman, you don't have to put living in that. You dig? But it says legal systems, not lawful systems. There's a difference between legal and lawful. Legal is of law, but law is not of legal. You feel me? Law is the complete product, but legal is a part of lawful. In other words, it's just an ingredient in the product, the complete product of law. So therefore, within the incomplete law, or certain fragments of law, or certain percentages of law, which is a legal system, they can and they do and they will attach rights and duties to natural persons, human beings, monsters, without your express consent. Oh, okay. All right then. Let's read with understanding and not understanding. Let us rock and roll. Let me just explain something to y'all. All right. How is this Trump is an immigrant and he's able to do these things? Because he's all of them, Biden, all of them, they're immigrants, but they're able to do it through the corporation. Through the corporation that you say you're a citizen of. You see how they tricked you? All right then. Let us rock and roll. Slaveholders got reparations. Oh, y'all didn't know, huh? Oh. Let us read this for a second here. On April 16th, 1862, President Abraham Lincoln signed a bill emancipating enslaved people in Washington, the end of the long struggle, but ease slaveholders' pain. In other words, he took the burden of the slaveholders, and the District of Columbia Act. What act was that? The corporation, right? The capital of the United States, the District of Columbia Act, paid those loyal to the Union up to $300 for every slave person freed. They got reparations. Have you gotten reparations? No. Your slave masters get reparations. That's right. Slave owners got reparations, and slave African Americans got nothing for their generations of stolen bodies, snatched children, and exploited labor other than their mere release of legal bondage. But you are still not free legally. You're free legally, but you are not free lawfully. Oh, you didn't know there was a difference, huh? Oh, well, now you know. All right. You were free legally, and therefore you were re-enslaved back on paper legally as well. Now, let me show you something. Companies and organizations that directly benefited from slavery because they had insurance policies on slaves, right? Or check it out. The U.S. government used slaves to build the White House, so they benefited. The U.S. military, faith-based organizations, Catholic Church, the Jesuit plantation in Maryland, and Georgetown, Virginia. Georgetown University. They all benefited, right? Business associated in some way with slavery, the railroads, all these companies right here. The newspapers, all of them right here. Consumer goods, Brooks Brothers, Tiffany's, West Point Stevens, bank and financial institutions. Hit the J.P. Morgan, they accepted slaves as collateral and owned slaves. But you see, y'all don't know. Chase Manhattan Bank, Riggs Bank, Bank of America accepted slaves as collateral. Wells Fargo purchased them and owned or accepted slaves. My brothers and sisters, man. Fleet, Boston Financial, Aetna, New York Life, AIG, Educational System, Harvard Law School, Isaac Royal, Harvard University, Yale University, Penn University, Rogers University, Brown University, Dartmouth University, University of Delaware, Princeton University, University of Virginia. I could only show you all those that were involved in slavery indirectly or directly. My brothers and sisters, man, all I could do is teach y'all the information and give y'all the information, man. And this right here, I already explained the American colonization of ACS, which was a so-called white-led organization that sought to move free Black people and emancipated slaves from the United States. All right. Now, let me ask you a question. Emancipated slaves, let us look at this right here. Give me 1 second. Let me get my other phone, because we have to, let me make sure I share this on Facebook and YouTube so my peoples on here could see it as well. Give me 1 second, please. All right. It's important that we learn to break down these words. The power of life and death is in the tongue. And when you speak words, you're casting spells. So let me go on my other phone real quick. And we're going to look at the definition of emancipated. Give me 1 second. All right. What is the definition of emancipated?
Here's the definition of emancipated: free from legal, social, or political restrictions, liberated.
All right. So therefore, if emancipated means liberated, you are free. How come it's saying free Black and emancipated? Those are two different categories. Therefore, every so-called Black individual was not a slave. They were already free. So who were they? Oh my goodness, man. Woo! All I could do is teach my people. All I could do is teach you. That's all I could do. You do what you want with the information. All I can do is teach you, and you do what you got to do. You do what you want with the information. I'm just here to open up your mind and give you information. Now check this out. The colonization society in 1820, the Marcus Garvey, all these people, they wanted to send American Indians, aka Black people, aka African Americans, aka colored people all over the Americas. They wanted to send us to Africa, right? All of a sudden, Trump is doing the birthright citizen thing. The 14th Amendment is being questioned because Trump want to get rid of birthright citizenship. All of a sudden, boom, 2024, Benin is passing grant citizenship to Black Americans and other descendants of enslaved people who can prove their lineage. The law was passed when? September 2024 by President Patrice. Oh my goodness, my people. If y'all don't see what's going on, my brothers and sisters who think they're African American and Black, you think y'all safe? Okay. Think this is only for Mexicans. That's just the beginning. It is just the beginning. Okay? All right. Y'all gonna learn today. Y'all gonna learn. Don't take heed. And I promise you, you'll be picking cotton in Pelican Bay. And I'm not Denzel now. I'm just saying. This is what's happening. You feel me? The colonization society in 1820. What's his name? Marcus Garvey. Umar Johnson. They want to put our people in Africa. Here we are. The 14th Amendment is being questioned. And September of 2024, Benin passed legislation already that we want Black Africans to come to Africa. Black African Americans. Okay. All right then. Because if they send each and every one of our people to Africa, then what's going to happen? The United States is going to be free, right? And who's going to be here? Aren't they getting rid of the Native Americans who are not the original Americans? So they are making way for the true American Indians to go back to Africa so that the United States will be left to whom? Oh, okay. You see, y'all are just too blind to see it because you and your emotions. Check this out. So the West Indian Company. All right, so we got the West Indian Company. we're going to show you one of the companies that literally started all of this. And I'm going to conclude with this right here. The West Indian Company. We had the West Indian Company. We had the Dutch Company. We had the Virginia Company. All right. The West Indian Company, including part of Virginia, North Carolina, East Florida, South Carolina, West Florida, Georgia, Louisiana, and the Gulf of Mexico, with parts of the coast of South America from the Bay of Honduras to the mouth of the river of the Orinoco, from the latest and best authorities and actual observations. That's in the Library of Congress. All right. All this is part of the West Indies. You feel me? Now, why am I explaining all of this to you? Where is the District of Columbia located? Where is the District of Columbia located? Let's go to Google real quick. Where is the District of Columbia located? All right. The District of Columbia. In fact, I got to share this for my YouTube and Facebook brothers and sisters to also follow and see exactly what I'm talking about. We're about done. All right. Give me 1 second. Here we go. The District of Columbia, the capital of the United States, right? Known as Washington, D.C., is located on the Potomac River in the United States. It's bordered by what? The states of whom? Maryland and what? Virginia. Do you know what that stands for? The Virgin Mary. The Virgin Mary, to give birth to the citizens of the corporation. I'm done. I don't know what else to show y'all. I could only show you what all this is because my ancestors have opened up my eyes. You feel me? And opened up my mind to the information. You do what you want with it. I cannot force you. But one thing I could tell you is this. We are the original people of this land. We are the people that were called American Indians when these colonizers came here in 1492. As you could see, I took you back 50,000 years when an acclaimed historian, an acclaimed archaeological researcher, who is also Native American, he told you if you go to a mosque, the first, the third, the fifth, the fourth, and the fifth individual is an American Indian. Much less if you have to go into this Christian churches. But even furthermore, he said 50,000 years ago, the Phoenicians came here and everybody's talking about they so-called white. But he said, no, the strong archaeological proof and research tells us that they are so-called black people. And when they came, they traded with the natives they found here. And if these so-called new natives came here from the Bering Strait only less than 25 to 30 years ago, which is not true, I'm just giving them the benefit of the doubt. We got a whole 20,000 years to account for. Who were the people that these Phoenicians found here? My brothers and sisters, we have always been here. We have always been here. So what I'm saying is this. We are the American Indians. We are the original indigenous people of this land. And may I conclude with these two things right here. Give me 1 second. All right. Let us go into some etymology real quick. Etymology of indigenous. Because indigenous people are protected internationally. All right. Here we are. Indigenous. Etymology. To be born or originating. Period. To be born or originating. So the people who were just born, they're getting rid of them right now. Okay? If you are a descendant of an African slave, you were never meant to have a place in these lands. That's what they're telling you. That's what they're telling you with the laws that they created. In fact, they're not laws with their legal system. So therefore, if you're just born, you are still considered a native and they will get rid of you eventually. But if you are originating as in an American Indian, as in original indigenous, they can't touch us. Period. All right. I'm going to show you guys a few more things. Let us go to Google, and I'm going to go ahead and share this right here so my YouTube brothers and sisters could also see this as well. All right. Share the screen. Let us go here and let us go here. All right. Noah Webster's 1828 dictionary. We're going to look at American. American. You see, it's already here because I'm always teaching. Always teaching. You feel me? Here we are. American. Did I put it in? Oh, no, it didn't go through. Give me 1 second, please. American. I apologize for, shaking the camera so much, right? American. A native of America. Originally. So when we're talking about native from that sense, we are talking about when native meant original, because the word changed. All right. So as you could see, it deals with originality, original. Hence, talking about the people that were found here 50,000 years ago when the Phoenicians came here. We are talking about native from that perspective. A native of America, originally applied to whom? The Aboriginals or the copper-colored races found there here by the Europeans, but now, keyword, but now applied to the descendants of Europeans born in America. The goal was always to replace us, and that's what's happening right now. Okay? So my brothers and sisters, man, pay attention. Pay attention. Let us look at the Benjamin Franklin letters. I keep talking about, this is the last one right here, but let me see if I could pull that up. Give me 1 second. Observations. All right. And we're going to conclude here. I promise. I got to go because I just get so excited when I teach, man. I don't want to stop. But we're going to go into the Benjamin Franklin letters, and we're going to look at what's being implemented right now. It is all part of the same system. And our people are going to get caught up in the system, and they don't realize. We are going to go into the National Archives. I'm not giving you opinions. I'm giving you documents that you could go. It says founders online. So they're talking about from the founding fathers that's telling you all this information, not me. National Archives, right? Benjamin Franklin. Let's go. The observation concerning the increase of mankind. The increase of mankind. You see, there's a difference between man and mankind. When Neil Armstrong supposedly went to the moon, supposedly, what did he say? One step for man and a bigger step for mankind. We are talking about the increase of mankind right here. Y'all think it's a game, huh? I tell people, don't play with me, man. I'm a scholar and I've done my work. I've been doing this for 25 years. All right. I started off with law. Check it out. Let's read. The immediate occasion for writing this essay, according to Van Durham, was the British Iron Act of 1750, which prohibited the erection of additional slitting and rolling mills, plating forges, and steel furnaces in the American colonies. While English iron masters rejoiced in the protection, the law afforded them a law, far-sighted Britons and most Americans appreciated that the act would curb colonial growth at just the moment when British and France were engaged in a climatic struggle for possession of North America. Franklin wrote the essay in 1751. All right, so that's what we're going to go at. We're going to read right now. We don't have to read all the introduction. All right, let's read. For those of you, go ahead and look up that information and do your own research. Okay. Observation concerning the increase of mankind, peopling of countries. Number one, tables of proportion of marriages of births of deaths to births, of marriages to the numbers of inhabitants, formed on observations made upon the bills of morality, christenings of populous cities will not suit countries, nor will tables form on observations made on full settled old countries, as Europe suit new countries as America. 2, for the people increase in the proportion to the number of marriages, and that is greater in the proportion to the ease and convenience of supporting a family. When families can be easily supported, more persons marry and earlier in life. So basically, he's just putting in the letters that they need to start marrying earlier in life, because now the Americas is of plentiful. So these people or persons, they could be supported because the land is of abundance. All right. Number 3, in cities where all trades, occupations, and offices are full, many delay marrying till they can see how to bear the charges of the family, which charges are greater in the cities, as luxury is more common. Many live single during the life and continue servants to families. Journeymen to the trades, and hence cities do not by natural generation supply themselves with inhabitants. The deaths are more than births. They're talking about city life here. So he's just giving an observation and putting those things in the letters, right? But I really don't have to read everything. What we're going to do is this. We're going to go all the way down to 24, because you have to read this document for yourself. For instance, number 6, land being thus plenty in the Americas, and so cheap as that for a laboring man that understands the husbandry can in a short time save money enough to purchase a piece of new land. All right. So I'm just showing you what this is about. So read it on your own. I want to bring your attention to the clause 24. Clause 24. Let's rock. 24. And I'm going to end on that note. All right. 24. Here we go. He says, which leads me to add, after he goes through everything about what he see in the Americas, the abundance of the land, the people are marrying young, you know what I mean? The people are plenty. We always had cities. After he's giving a report on that, it comes up to 24, and he says, which leads me to add one remark, that the number of purely white people in the world is proportionally very small. All Africa is black or tawny. Asia is chiefly tawny. America exclusively of the newcomers. In other words, minus the newcomers, woolly so. In other words, America is brown skin, tawny. You feel me? And in Europe, the Spaniards, Italians, French, Russians, and Swedes are generally of what we call a swarthy complexion. In other words, people of color, as are the Germans. The Germans were people of color. The Germans that were coming here in the early hundreds, okay, in the early 1500s, 1600s, they were people of color. I want y'all to know this. And the Swedes are generally of what we call a swarthy complexion, as are the Germans also. The Saxons also, except, so when you hear of the Anglo-Saxons, don't think Saxons were just pale-skinned people. No. The Saxons who came here first, they were people of color. The first pilgrims were people of color. The first Quakers were people of color. Accepted who, with the English, make the principal body of so-called on the white face of the earth. All right? The goal is to increase and create a place for so-called white people. And that's the attempt, and that's what's going on in the United States right now. So they're getting rid of the pretendians, which are the Native Americans. And next, they're going to work on everybody who say they came from Africa. Y'all think it's a game? Watch. If you don't want to identify who you are as the American Indian, as the original people of this land, then you can't say that Chief did not tell you, that he did not tell you so. You can't say he didn't tell you so. You can't say he never warned you. get ready to be relocated, not deported, but relocated to Africa. Just a matter of time. Y'all think it's a game? I'm done. Thank you for being a part of the live. Thank you for being a part of the build. Thanks to everyone on Facebook. Thanks to everyone on YouTube. For those of you that's on that's on TikTok, please go ahead and follow me because I got so much more information coming. It's not even funny. All right? My brothers and sisters, wake up. Wake up. Let's see past the illusion. I'm begging you. This ain't got nothing to do with what you think it is. Worst comes to worst. Y'all think that people from the Caribbean and so-called black people from different parts of the Americas, they are not supposed to be in the United States. Y'all mistaken. The United States is a corporation. You are not even supposed to be in the United States, but you're proud to be a construct of a corporation. I'm here to teach everybody. Let me tell y'all something. When they send people that wasn't born in the United States, but they're from different parts of the Americas, where do you think they're sending them? They're sending them into different parts of the Americas. They are still in America. When they get ready for you and they send you, they're going to send you to Africa because that's where you say you came from. Y'all don't realize it's literally, we are at war. You don't realize that. So y'all are just too blind to see it. But only time will tell. Only time will tell. Only time will tell. And you'll see what's going on. So go ahead and celebrate that they are getting rid of the Haitians. Go ahead and celebrate that they're getting rid of Jamaicans. Go ahead and celebrate that they're getting rid of indigenous Brazilians. Go ahead and celebrate that they're getting rid of the indigenous, the original Mexicans or the original Cubans. Go ahead and celebrate that. Because what's going to happen is the more they get rid of the original people that was not born in the United States, what they're going to do? Your numbers will be diminished and they're going to round you up. Y'all think it's a game? Go look at the movie Civilian. I showed people the movie called Civil War. What kind of American are you? Go ahead and say African American or black and see what's going to happen to you. Y'all think this is a game. I know who I am. I got receipts. I'm indigenous to this land. You feel me? Worst comes to worst. They say, oh, well, Chief, you wasn't born in the United States. Okay, well, send me back to North America. I'm still an American. Just because you got your guns and your tanks. That's why I'm not afraid. That's why I could talk. And that's why I travel all over the world. I went to England. I show y'all the emblem of America. I was the one in the museum. Nobody helped me to pay for the flight to England. No, I did that on my own dime because I want to open up the eyes of my people. If y'all had listened to me in 2017, we would have been way ahead. All these people that's literally setting up all these rules and all these conditions, they are the real immigrants. They are not Americans. They are United States citizens. There's a difference. They are not Americans. But y'all don't know who you are. In fact, you don't even know who an American is. You think a United States citizen is an American. No, they are not Americans. And their constitution is not the original constitution. The original constitution is our constitution. And in that constitution, it was stated, it was emphatically stated that their time was temporary. But they switched it on you and they're making your time temporary. Oh, okay. All right then. Keep playing the games with these colonizers and see what's going to happen. Keep playing these games and see what's going to happen. I'm done. Thank you. Once again, enjoy the rest of your continuation. I'm going to continue to teach my people. I'm going to continue to organize my people. I'm the one who sparked the flame all the way in 2011. And if y'all think I'm playing, let me show y'all some proof real quick. Excuse me going dark real quick, all right? Let me just pull something up for you guys. I apologize for going dark on TikTok. Let me show y'all something. Boom. Go ahead and let me see 1 second. Let me switch account and let me go on YouTube real quick. Let me show you guys something, okay? I tell people I got receipts, man. I've been doing this. People don't get this. I've been doing this for a very, 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 very long time. I started off doing law and legal and helping fathers that was in court in child support, because they were active fathers in their children's lives, and the system was taking advantage of them. And it happened to me. And I didn't like to read. It's not that I couldn't read. I never liked reading, because every time I read, I got tired. My mind would hurt. And then when that happened to me, a father who's always been there for his son. I had my son 4 days a week. My son never had breast milk. I raised my son. And just because I did not want the relationship, I was put on child support. And they wanted to take the license, send me to jail. I was but even then, I was that wild Indian. I told them, send me to jail. Send me to jail. I'm not going to pay no child support. Send me to jail. But then I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and do what, and let me go ahead and learn law. And I was forced to learn law. When I say forced, I forced myself until I got myself out of child support in less than a year. And the lawyer, he was like, well, you could put on child support. I said, no, I don't want to do that, because if I do it, I'll be in my emotions, and I'll only do it because of revenge. I don't want to do it. Guess what they did? The following year, they put her on child support. So I keep telling y'all, man, I'm not new to this. I've been doing this. Let me see if I could go find this video. That's what I'm trying to find. Go back all the way in 2011 and show you when I was in front of the family court downtown Brooklyn. All right, that's what I'm trying to pull up right now. Okay, that's what I'm trying to pull up right now. Give me a second. I was literally sending videos and all type of things to the president. Man, I'm telling you, I was just going in. So my brothers and sisters, learn, okay? Because this is not a game that these people are playing with us. None of them have their best interests, our best interests at heart. All right? So I could just show you real quick where I literally, all right, talking about my son to the president, all right? What date you see here? 2019, 2011, June 2011, to the president, right here. Okay? So I'm just letting y'all know, I've been doing this for a very, 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 very long time. Very long time. So people, don't get it twisted. All right? What did I just do here? All right, so I'm about to conclude this bill, man. Thank you so much for being a part of this. I just want y'all to know that I've been an advocate for the underdog. I've been an advocate for our people. I was one of the first people that held a rally downtown Brooklyn in front of family court on behalf of fathers. I was one of the first people. I did flyers. I was interviewing fathers on the street, teaching them about law, how to get themselves out of child support in 2011. And in 2015, I was like, you know what? I'm going to start teaching our people who they are and who we are. I started teaching our people that we're the original people. Everybody thought I was crazy. Nobody on YouTube was doing this. But I was. Before the signers and them, I was. And look at where we at today. I was always ahead of my time, fam. Always. So I plead to all my so-called African American brothers and sisters, so-called black people that was actually born in the US, wake up. The majority of us did not come from Africa or even from across the seas. That was a lie. That was a lie. It was always a plan to displace our people. Go read the Benjamin Franklin letters. It was always a plan that was devised and put in place to take our land. Also, go look at Noah Webster's 1828 dictionary. Mission accomplished. All right? Thank you for being a part of the build. If you're on TikTok, don't forget to follow. Help me get to 1,000 people so we could do a few more things. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your continuation. All right? One love. All right. All right, so I just ended the live on on TikTok. You see the difference on TikTok, my brothers and sisters, on Facebook and YouTube? So far, I have about 14,000 likes on TikTok with only about 600 followers. I got over 28,000 subscribers on YouTube, and my videos never reach over 1,000. I'm talking about recently, or even two. The longer ones. But how is that I don't have that type of likes and people seeing my videos on YouTube? You tell me. You tell me. People think it's always a conspiracy theory. No, it's not. But anyway, YouTube, anyway, on Facebook, I'm getting out of here, man. Enjoy the rest of y'all continuation. All right, let's continue to build. Let's continue to move forward and do what we got to do. We'll talk soon.